Hello and welcome back to Sitar Gurukul in another episode. Today we are going to talk about something new, something very interesting. It may not be a lot of you, but people who are trying to understand how vilambit teentaal or really slow tempo teentaal works, this video is just for you. Uh, for people who have already been with the channel, drut teentaal or medium tempo teentaal or medium tempo 16 beat on the tabla should not be a problem. Uh, so I'm going to show you today how very easily and very gradually and very smartly you can start counting your teentaal vilambit. So before that, I always think that before going to the actual teentaal vilambit, it's always a really good idea to start a little fast. For example, 160 BPM. This speed I really like and I really enjoy playing. So we already know how to count in such speeds, but let's just refresh that information. So I'm going to count from 1 to 16 in this specific beats per minute setting. So 160 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. So interestingly, I have this setting where you can put a bell on some. Of course, there is not going to be someone in real life who is going to sit with the tabla player playing a bell on every sum. Later, we are going to go to 120 BPM, which should be substantially slower. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then we are going to go to 100 BPM, taking it slow. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So up till 100, it should be all the same to you. And if we remember from our previous episodes, we've already started our tons from very slow speeds all the way up to 160, and some of you have even done it faster. Now, interestingly, in this app, whenever you switch to anything that is slower than 100 BPM, this app automatically plays this new variation in the tabla, which has the tabla player, whoever recorded, they made him do this. So they have an extra sound that works as a filler among every gap of the beats, and that is because, and that I see the reason why they did this, and this was very smart, because whenever you are going to play with a real tabla player, and that is definitely one of the things you should start doing at some point. A real tabla player will have his artistry, his mastery, and how the tabla player thinks of that particular time. So every tabla player is going to be different, bringing newer ideas, and it's going to be very inspiring to your music as well. So this app thinks that's natural because it is, and it wants to replicate that. So we are going to go to 80, and right away you're going to notice that it sounds a little different. And this little difference, if you don't know the technique, this little difference can create havoc in your head. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3. So you have to kind of ignore, I wouldn't say ignore, you have to kind of get habituated with listening to such phrases in between, because we're going to go slower. Now, I think vilambit teentaal, I personally enjoy it as the fastest tempo of vilambit teentaal to be 60 BPM. One of my favorite artists, Pandit Budharti Mukherjee, he tends to follow 60 BPM on his vilambits. Do listen to him. So we're going to do 60, and it makes sense because it's basically a 1 second pulse, a 1 second beat. So exactly at the frame of 60 seconds. So counting. 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. And we can go slower. We can do 40. 40 sounds a little bit more different. You can clearly hear the difference between every beat, and that gives you a lot of opportunity to do a lot of other things on the sitar, which we will come to at some point. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. So, I hope that did clear your concept on vilambit teentaal, and I am sure that you have understood that it's not hard at all. All you have to do is start to normalize in your head that that sound in between is a variation, and it is normal. On the next episode, we are going to start to learn a vilambit composition, and then we are going to experiment. Now, just like in the regular medium tempo teentaal, we have learned that the first beat, the sum, is extremely important, and the composition we were doing, it really highlights that sum. So, somewhat exceptionally even more important. The next most important beat has to be the khali, which is the 9th beat, and then there is a technique where you can start compositions from the 12th beat. The 12th beat is exceptionally, it brings out an entirely different characteristic of any composition, and all these kinds of compositions have names which we are going to learn about in a separate class. But till then, I would highly advise you to turn on your app or search for a 16-beat vilambit tempo in YouTube, but you have to keep on hearing and counting, and it has to start to bond with you. Once that is done, you will be ready for the next episode, in which we will show how to start playing a composition in vilambit teentaal. Till then, take care. Bye bye.